I'm Ms. Quoted. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you checking out this channel, which is about life with hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos disorder or syndrome. Today we're going to talk about some things you can do with your legs, some exercises you can do with your legs. So we're going to see some different ways to do marching, some different kind of adductor types of things, and some glute work that we can do while lying on our back or on our side. So if you're having a bad day where you can't really get up and move around freely, these are some exercises you can do where you're still toning your body and still getting a workout. So we're going to start with 90-90 marches up in the air. So you put your legs at a 90-degree angle and a 90-degree angle, and then tap down. And so you can do about 10 to 20 of these. And something to really keep track of is how stable is your pelvis. So if you notice, I'm holding on to my pelvic bones, like the hip bones right here, and I'm making sure they're not moving as I'm doing this. Now I'm really good at doing it for this version. The next version that we do, I have a little more trouble and I struggle. So again, hands on those hip bones, making sure those hip bones are going to be stable. And it's possible you'll find that your hip bones aren't at the same height, then you might want to be doing some other work stretching out your back and your hip muscles because something's tight. If they're not even, if one's up here and one's down there, or vice versa, you probably have something tight that you need to work out before you start doing this. So marches with your feet down is the opposite, but somehow way more difficult. It takes way more concentration for me to be able to keep my hips completely stable and not marching along at different angles, heights and moving and rotating. So it looks very easy, it looks very simple, but it requires a lot of control. All right, so those are two types of exercises that you can do that involve marching. Another one we can do that gets into your glute a little more is kicking out. So just extending your leg. And you're not going up because this doesn't get into the glute. You want to go out. And if you need a little more, if that's not enough for you, you can get a resistance band and kick out with the resistance band to get a little more into those glute muscles. And so you're going to want to do this on both sides. And again, you can do 10 to 20 sets or however many you want. All right. And so for both of those movements, I had a support on my neck so that my neck wasn't getting pushed into the mat at all. Now we're going to move on to some inner and outer thigh work. So you can do this with a loop, or you can tie your band into a loop and have some resistance. So it's again 90 here, 90 at the knees. You can do clamshells where you're just opening, your ankles are together, you're just opening the knees. So that's one movement. And now what I want you to make sure you're not doing, you can see my hip is not moving. So if you're like rolling your hips as you're doing this, yeah, it looks more impressive, but you're not getting into the muscles. And same thing for the next one. The next one, we just lift the whole leg up. So the ankle's coming up with the knee. It's like it's one piece. They're not at a different height. They're at the same height as you do this. And again, your hand is on your hip and you're not like trying to look super impressive with how big you can do it. You just want to do a small controlled movement. And again, if you want to do these with resistance, you can just wrap the loop or wrap your TheraBand around your legs and do the same motions. Okay, and then now that we've worked the outer thigh, we want to work the inner thigh. So you can take your foot in front and you just lift the bottom leg. And again, that hip isn't moving, it's not rotating at all. And I get more out of this if I flex my foot. And so I'm lifting with a flexed foot right now. And so again, you'll want to do that on each side, again, 10 to 20. Those are some tips for doing some leg workouts and getting your legs stronger if you're having a bad day, or just keeping them moving if you're having a bad day. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.